Okay, looks like I am live on YouTube. I haven't done a YouTube live but a couple times, so we'll see how it goes. Um, right now I'm working on my latest painting called Eye on the Prize, and I just figured since I've been back in the studio, um, pulling myself together here, I figured why not make some content. And then once I started making some content, I was like, why not go live? So here I am going live. Might not even matter, but I'm gonna try to see if I can meet any new art friends, or I don't know, anybody. So maybe nobody will join. Maybe my husband will join. Sometimes that's the only person that really joins me, which is fine. I won't even know because I'm using my phone right now for a time lapse, but I don't have enough devices. I have a time lapse going behind me. That's his old phone. And that's just of me doing the whole painting. And then I have a time lapse over my paint palette. Because that's always kind of a neat little clip to do. And then I have my iPad set up to record the live. And I have a new phone. I just haven't transferred everything yet, so I haven't started using it. And that would be the next piece where I could have my actual device to look at and to use while I'm working, which is what I'm missing right now, technically. So if he joins, it'll be, we'll know in the comments, I guess. I think you can make, I think this is like TikTok, right? You can comment on the video, on the live. I think so. Not sure exactly how it works in YouTube. I just know that YouTube kindly posts, hello, nice to see you. YouTube kindly posts for me the time that I'm on here for, so I won't lose track of time for once, because I never pay attention. But I'm excited to finally get color going on this big beast. I felt like the color mapping was brutal. There's so many tiny sections. It was really hard. And I won't even know if it really comes together with the color palette I've chosen and everything until I pretty much have it done. So it's already had like, I don't even know how many hours into it, just getting the image on here and then mixing up the colors that I decided to use and then the color mapping itself. Well, the value mapping first and then the color mapping for the values. So tedious, tedious. Oh, so many people here. So nice to see you. I'm working on the second color in this painting, basically, that I'm calling Eye on the Prize. So I don't know if you can see what it is, but these are the colors I'm working with that I set for myself. And this is the image. And it's an image of F1 type style race car. So the last painting that I did was of this nature was with my daughter in mind. And so this one is with my husband in mind. He's a big like history guy and F1 racing guy, and this kind of is like the best of both worlds. So a little bit of history, a little bit of racing. So I'm making this one for him, and well, with him in mind, I guess. Not really for him, but he thinks all my paintings are for him. He thinks that everything I paint and everything I crochet and everything I make is exclusively for him. So, but it's not that it's not for him. It's more like it's, for everybody. I'm so excited. I got this new apron, and the bummer about it is that it doesn't look like I've been painting for very long. It looks like I'm brand new. What lighting are you using? I am using a ton of lighting, actually. My husband has lighting set up throughout this room, and if I counted how many light fixtures I have going, you would laugh. And if I showed you the light fixtures I have caught together, you would laugh as well. So I can't even really tell you, but I use a mix, basically. They're all LED lighting, but I use a mix of like the ambient lighting that you might use in your living room, and then like the neon-y kind of white lighting. And I have like so many set up, and I've got several like ring lights set up, and then I've got like these glaring, oh my gosh, they almost look like something you'd see at a track. It's got like four, I can't even show you unfortunately right now. Um, but I've got lighting set up everywhere, and then I've got overhead lighting. This is technically a dining room converted into a studio. So what's really funny is I have like a chandelier also with like five ugly 1980s looking candlelight things, and he even bought like the brightest LED lights that he could put into that as well. So lots of lighting. So if you're still with me, I can't really tell who's on and who's not, but if you're still here, if you're an artist, I'd love to know what kind of artist you are. Drop me a comment if you have a page so I can follow it. These spaces are so tiny. I've never tried to do a painting with the sections being like so tiny. And it's definitely challenging. I'm hoping it all comes together and pays off. Sometimes in my paintings, I think the sections are like too big, and I'm wondering if I like made it too generic. So this time I really wanted to get all the subtleties of the values if I could. So each one of these colors that I'm putting up on here, of which I have 10 for this painting, will take like 3 coats per color probably to get a good full coverage, even though I do try to stabilize every color with some good heavy body white. It's still very transparent, so I really like a nice thick opaque smooth, like perfectly smooth finish, like a factory finish. If you get your cabinets repainted or whatever, it'll be like a really flat, beautiful, smooth finish. And so in these particular paintings, it's not so much brush strokes I'm looking for or blending. I'm looking for like a much more graphic type vibe, I guess you could say. I don't know. All my paintings, my mediums that I work in are all like so different from each other. My watercolors don't really look anything like my acrylics, and my oils don't really look anything like my watercolors or my acrylics. They're all kind of unique, but there's like similarities in the style between them, I guess, and like how I represent what I represent. So you could probably see my work. If you put it together, you could probably see it all coming from the same artist. But if you didn't know, you might wonder. But if you did know, you'd be like, oh, I see all the nuances of style translated between the different mediums. But I've just been working as an artist for so long. I've got bored with one medium and switched to another, and got bored with a different one and switched to a different one. So over time, I've found myself dabbling in acrylics in this type of style, though. This like monumental style. It pops of color, like very like I don't know what you would say, like pop art maybe. I don't want to say I'm, a pop artist or anything, but my watercolors are really, really traditionally representational. And even my oil paintings are as well. But my acrylics, I tend to like do my own thing and use my imagination a lot more, I guess. I always like it when I get to a big space. It's like a relief. And I'll just fill it all in. Hoo ha. Yeah, painting these tiny fussy areas is kind of a pain in the butt. And I don't even know if this is like a good angle for a live. I don't know if it's too far. I don't know if it's too close. Like honestly, I have no idea really what I'm doing. So it doesn't really matter to me. I figure sometimes people might find my content interesting and other times they may not. So I'm going to just try to post more and not be so thoughtful and self-conscious about it. I was doing pretty good posting for a while, and then I just started to get very, very self-conscious. It's hard to like be on social media and like want to be posting on social media, but then at the same time to feel like you're in competition with all the other things that you see while you're that you see as a result really of posting. And I get to feeling really badly about myself and my content and my art, what I'm making. And it just kind of causes me to get discouraged. And I am not actually making any progress in my life, living in a sea of discouragement. So I think I will just pick myself up out of that space and try to find something better to focus on than feeling depressed or anxious. It's not just the social media that causes that, but it doesn't help, especially if you feel like you're letting people down or I don't know. I have to take my glasses off to paint most of the time because I can't really see close up. Pretty blind without my glasses on unless I'm looking at something really close, and then my glasses make it so I can't see what I'm looking at all. So it's like a weird dichotomy of vision impairment. These colors probably look so similar on the camera that you can't really see the difference, but they are different. It goes on a lot lighter initially, and then it darkens up when it dries. And then once I outline every section basically in black, then they all really start to pop. And you can see the differences in the colors actually a lot better once you get the black on there. But this one is probably at least another, if I say week, it'll not get done for a month, but I want to say this one is at least another week or more out, and we'll see. Because I have a camping trip planned up here at the beginning of July, so it'd be cool to have it done before then, but I don't know. I don't want to lose my mojo, but I will, because that happens every time I travel anywhere. Then I'm like, I don't know, I can go somewhere for 2 days and then I can't like get back into the swing of things for 2 months. It feels like it doesn't make any sense to me. It's that ADHD brain. It gets like squirrel-esque. It's like confused. What did we just do? We had a routine. You just ruined it. What's the routine? We can't figure it out. And it doesn't make any sense, but. Or any crisis that happens in life, it's like, why is it so hard to get back into a routine after some kind of crazy thing happens in life? Like you had the routine beforehand. So why can't you have the routine after? I don't know. You tell me, because I can't figure it out. So my biggest battle has been to be kind enough to myself to develop a routine which has like grounding effects and gives you a space to go to, kind of in your mind and your heart, I guess. Lots of talk about me, sorry. I'm using golden acrylics. In case you're wondering, these are acrylics that are manufactured right here in upstate New York. I would say Western New York personally, but you know, I don't want to split hairs. But they are really excellent quality acrylics, so it's cool to have access to professional acrylics that are manufactured right here in near my house, near home. A lot of times the supplies I'm buying are like, if I buy like Arches paper, for example, that comes from France. So I don't know if it's all made in France still, though. I don't know. I should do some research on that. But it's been made for like hundreds of years. And golden acrylics is a newer line of paint, but they're very good quality paint. And I do love them. So I tend to use them more than anything else. They have a good body, and they have really beautiful color saturation. They don't use a lot of crap in the paint to as a filler, basically. It's like a lot of paint companies are academic type paint companies use a lot of filler. So I'm hoping that the sound is good on this. I have like a new microphone thing and a new little microphone tab thing in there. And I'm hoping that it is good quality sound. I don't know. I cannot ask anybody that I know. So you'll have to tell me if it's a good quality sound or not. Mostly I'm just trying to get the first layer of this second color down so that I can paint in the second and third coats behind the scenes. I try not to do that stuff on the camera because it feels like it's just you're watching nothing. Watching paint dry is probably only slightly less boring, or more boring, I mean. This is only slightly less boring probably than watching paint dry, is watching me paint these tiny areas. So I don't have a clue like what's the best angle to do this at either for lives. I've kind of gone around and around on what kind of content do I want to create? What do I want it to look like? In what format? And I get overwhelmed. I don't know how content creators literally do this full time. It's to me like really, I don't know. It's a downer. I thought making art would be, about making art, and it ends up being about like making other stuff that's not art, but it's related to my art. But I don't know. I'm complaining. Sorry. I don't mean to sit here and complain. That's not really what you joined the live stream for, was to hear me complain. I'm sure. Today I'm testing them out to see if it's something I want to keep using. I have to keep switching back and forth with my brushes too, because the spaces are so tiny, it's hard to get a brush in there that's not anything under like a 0. Or, well, I say under, bigger than a 0, really. It's hard to get anything bigger than a 0 in some of these spaces. And if I can just get this second color completely filled in, at least the first coat, then I can do a little bit of dinner prep for us and maybe get the second coat on after dinner. We'll see. A lot of this number 2 on this race car here. The other one had like this long, skinny, snaky river. And this one has the same thing, it's just much bigger now. Be helpful if I picked up some paint. There we go. I didn't think I was hungry, but that candy made my stomach growling. As soon as I feel that sugar in my body, then it's like my body is like, oh, you have food in you? We need more. More of that. These are such skinny little spots. I hope this translates well. I hope. I really have no idea how these paintings are going to look until I'm totally done. I mean, it really boils down to the last, like, tracing of the color of the shapes. And only then do I finally start to see it. The last one I did, I didn't even really like it until I finally got all the shapes delineated. And then I saw it and it came together and I was really happy with it. But so much prep goes into them. And it's terrifying to think that it wouldn't work out, you know? If you're with me, I really appreciate you being here. It's hard for me to see the screen with my glasses on, or with my glasses off, I can't see it. So I am trying to keep my eye out for anyone who's leaving a comment or saying hello. I can do the bigger spaces with my glasses on, but once they get too small, then I have to take them off so I can see what I'm doing. And I wish I didn't have to do 3 coats on all these. I really try to get the paint to be as opaque as I can, but I can tell with this one it's gonna need 3 coats. And also the paint gets like gunked up on the brush. And in these tiny spaces, I do this trick where I like roll the brush and roll the paint out of it basically. But if the space isn't big enough, you can't really do it reasonably. So then I'm always like wiping excess paint off. And wiping it on my apron, which, as I was saying, I think at the beginning of the live stream, I feel bad that it looks so new. My other apron, though, ties behind the neck, and when I have it on all day, it gives me a headache. So I found this apron on, of course, Amazon, the bane of everyone's existence that we can't resist shopping at. Nobody wants to shop there, and yet nobody wants to shop anywhere else because, you know, the local people wouldn't have this apron. I'd have to order it from somebody. So I got it and I love it already. It's super comfy. I can wipe my clothing to my heart's content without ruining it because it's just a bad habit I have, so I kind of have no choice. I do have like special art dresses, but even so, I don't need them to get gummed up with like such a thick layer of paint. I gotta take off the glasses again. I can't see these tiny little spots. They're so tiny. And the paint needs to be a little bit more viscous. I probably need to spritz it. Keep it damp so it doesn't dry out on me. There we go. That's a little better. So it's getting tacky. That's no good. No bueno. Oh, and I'm making a mess, which is no good either. All right, this is about to come around and wrap. This like big circle wraps around, and then I think the top part of the race car is done. I have like a few more little sections of this number 2 I need to do. And then I can get back to the second coat, or get on with, not back to, but get on with the second coat. Which I don't know that I would actually do on a live stream because, ooh, that was a lot of paint. Because who would want to watch that? It's bad enough to watch me do the first coat. But maybe I'll figure out a more interesting, I don't want to say like a more interesting vantage. I don't know. It's such a wide painting that it's hard to get you close enough to what I'm doing if you want to see the whole thing. So I'm just really torn about what's the best way to present it. That's probably why Bob Ross painted the small paintings, you know? I think most of his paintings were like 16 by 20 because it probably just fit on the TV screen easier, you know? There we go. Still a lot of paint up there. Gotta go grab it. Sometimes I leave paint hanging out in a section for a little bit until I'm ready to go pick it up again. Here we go. Awesome. Close enough. I made a little bit of a mess right up here, but no big deal. That's what paint is for. I can cover it. I still have to do this long, skinny bit right here. I'm gonna see if the fatter brush will work though, because the tiny one is just making me tired. It doesn't have to be like super smooth or pretty. It just needs to hit the black marker, and then I can smooth it out later. This is just to get the initial color on the canvas. Yay! I was not really looking forward to this giant circular shape here, but that wraps it up. So if you just get to it, it'll get done. A couple more little spots of 2. That might be, I might have done that a little fatter than I should have. I did. Just a little tiny bit one right here. And then a longish one next to it. Still gonna stick with the bigger brush and hope that it works, at least as long as I can. There we go, not bad. What else? Right here. Looks like there's a spot. I always miss one. I missed one when I was doing the ones. I found it today. So probably tomorrow I'll find 1, 2 that I missed today. And there's like a tiny one here and then a long skinny one here. This is just like a little dimple right here. I don't regret making the spaces all like super tiny and delineated. I'm just really hoping that it will come together in the painting and it won't look like, I don't know, congested or busy or whatever.
then once I finish this, I get to do the next layer on my mini abstracts, which I used today's leftover paint as an opportunity to do like the first art vlog that I had done in a while, which I was pretty excited to do. So I'm hoping, whoops, that doesn't go there, that goes there. I'm hoping that this will, I'll move along quickly and I can put all these posts up that I've generated. There we go. I think that's it. I gotta step back and take a peek. Let's see if there's any twos that I'm missing. I see a lot of threes happening, which is the next color. I try to color code the numbers too, so that it's not just numbers I'm looking at, but colors, because my vision's really bad. So I see by color more than by shape, if that makes any sense. This is really just my attempt to like pull the world in closely and be able to see it, but from far away, which is something I can't do. So anyways, I color code all the numbers so that when I step back, I can basically see, you know, what I need to see. So I don't think I see any more tubes on here. So then the next color that I would be putting up here would be number 3, which is ready to go, waiting. And as you can see, it's like it's slightly more green than the green I just put up there. But this green actually still has to have probably 2 more coats. So unfortunately, the sad part of this whole endeavor is that now I get to go back on top of the first coat where I was working on these and do a second coat. And probably a third coat. The light greens and yellows are very, very hard to get double coat coverage. They say, you know, like house paint, you can have like 1 coat. There's no such thing as any paint that covers in 1 coat. I don't believe it for a minute. We've been house painting for a long time, and there's no such thing. I don't care who makes the paint. We only use Benjamin Moore paints inside of homes, unless people want to upgrade to fine paints of Europe. And even fine paints, you're not going to get anything in 1 coat. There's no such thing. Light bounces through it at the end of the day. And it's impossible to get fully perfectly even coverage on any surface that's not like pristinely smooth. I don't mind the tooth of the canvas. I like it actually. Some people get panicky about the surface not being super smooth, but I don't mind that at all personally. I probably should go up to the bigger brush size for this one. All right, there we go. Lovely. Guess we can just go back over here. Now I'll get confused between the 1s and the 2s. And I'll have to like keep closely checking, because that happens to me. I start to get confused until the colors like drastically shift. But these are really close. These are easy to get confused, and so sometimes I end up like accidentally putting paint on a spot that it shouldn't have because I'm confused as to what color I'm painting. They start to be all the same. But what's really funny is if you're house painting, which we did for years, or doing whatever refinishing you do, if you've been sitting there painting like walls long enough, the paint, they turn white. It doesn't matter what color you are painting with. And I've had this phenomenon happen even with like a dark teal green paint, and you're painting it for so long that your eyes lose sight of what color you're painting. I know that sounds really crazy, but I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't experience it myself. And when you're painting all day long on a job site, like so much so that your hand cramps and you drop the paintbrush, well, that might be about the time that the paint starts to turn white on you. So sometimes this paint actually does a similar type of thing to my eyes, where it disappears on me almost. Boy, I don't like these little tiny shapes. Boy, I gotta really think twice about doing that again. They are so tiny. And even making the painting as big as I did, it's still a challenge to get the spaces all filled in. because there's so many. Usually I'll like zoom it out so that I have, sorry, I'm crunching on a piece of candy. Usually I have it so zoomed out that the spaces seem bigger, but this one just didn't do that for some reason. I know this is super boring to watch, and I know it's not really the best angle either. I don't really know what is the best way. Oh, sorry there. I don't really know what is the best way to film myself live when I'm working on the canvas so big, because do I just show like the little bit I'm working on but I'm moving all over the place? Do I show, yeah, I don't know. This is awfully far away from the canvas, so can you even really appreciate what I'm doing? But I have no idea. If you have thoughts though, I'm willing to hear them. I'm not really stuck on any one way. I don't know, I was posting for a while, but I didn't like love my content. I just wasn't happy with it. It didn't feel authentic to me. Or I don't know, it just didn't, plus it was so challenging. It's so challenging to edit and post and keep on top of it all. So I ended up needing to just reevaluate where I was throwing all my energy into. And truth be told, I'm never going to be able to be like the famous art cast person with 1 million followers. It's just unlikely that I would get 100 followers. I think I have like 200, but it's unlikely that I would ever really get more than that. I mean, I don't really care. I'm posting for myself, and mostly for family, and maybe some of my friends. I do have friends. Maybe not a lot, but I have a few. They enjoy my content. So then I decided I just need to post whatever works for me. I'm not trying to like necessarily copy other people. Although I have been really inspired by this dude that's been on YouTube now for a few months, and his channel is called Sailing with Phoenix. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but his name's Oliver, and he dumped his 401k basically and quit his job and bought a sailboat, even though he had never really sailed, and decided to sail it from Oregon to Hawaii over via the Pacific, and chronicles his journeys on YouTube. And I really, really like his format. I really like his personality. I really like how raw, I guess, and uncut. I'm sure he does a lot of editing, but I appreciate the candor of his episodes, and I appreciate just his dialogue. His like, he's just vulnerable and he's just real. So, in the day and age of like lots of AI, I'm sure realness is valued by all. So I probably should raise this up some, because I keep turning over. I could even flip it upside down, I guess. That might be wiser. What? There we go. I'll see how that works. Might be a little better. Then I might not be like squatting down so much. So if this is super boring to watch, I'm sorry. It's actually super boring to do. My paintings look a lot more exciting when they're done than pretty much the entirety of making them. They're pretty much really, really uninteresting until they're done. So you get like a very, very brief moment of happiness at the end, but like there's weeks or months of effort that go into them in advance, which every time I'm like, oh my gosh, is this worth it? But then you have the big reveal and it's like, oh, that's amazing. Love that so much. Oh, let's do it again. I don't know, maybe not. And then I take a breather from them because they're just such monumental paintings to do. I had a person comment one time like, oh, it's just like a big giant paint by number. I'm like, that's really what all art is. It's just a big giant paint by number. And honestly, you are more than welcome to make one of these if you want yourself. Like, go right ahead. I'm taking things and changing them to sort of say something, if that makes any sense. And so I think that's kind of what all artists do, is they're creating a dialogue with whatever they are creating. And so this is a dialogue of color and line and symbolism and different things like that. So I don't expect everyone to get it. Some people will see my paintings and be, you know, like incredibly impressed by them, and then my own family will sometimes not be. So I learned to not really judge who would appreciate them, or even myself, like not to judge them, even myself. I have plenty of work that I do not like that I've done, and I've had people say like, "Oh my gosh, that's my favorite one." I'm like, "Oh gosh, okay, that was a mistake," or "Oh, that wasn't supposed to even be shown," or whatever, and it be their favorite thing. So I literally stopped judging my artwork so long ago, because I've made enough of it where I realize it's not. I just make it. I don't interact with it really. Well, I mean, I guess I interact with it, but other people interact with it on their own terms. Like, I can't give you the narrative of how you should perceive what I'm making. You have to come up with your own. I'm not trying to get, like, I guess that's what I'm trying to say, is I'm not trying to get people to think a certain way. By making my artwork, it's not meant to like make you think a certain way, but it might be meant to make you think, but not necessarily a certain way. I see like different like one of those psychological tests. I see like different images inside these shapes that aren't there. Like I keep seeing this like as I don't know, like a dinosaur taking a drink or something. They used to have those little bobbing things, those water bobbing things. That's what I keep seeing in my mind's eye. There's like, this one is like a monster to me right there. I keep seeing a monster when I see that little section. Boy, this is a long winding river of chartreuse. I think that's the color this bright green is. I'm not really sure what the color is. I mixed up colors to make this color. But I think it would technically be known as chartreuse. And it is a long and winding chartreuse. Now I'm like trying to so here's the tricky part about painting the second coat, is I often can't tell where I started and began on the second coat. I'm very absent-minded. I was telling you, I liked that guy Oliver from the Sailing with Phoenix series on YouTube, and I like him a lot because he'll literally be talking and then he'll do what I do, and he's like, "Oh, what was I saying?" I'm constantly doing that in lives, or even when I was doing the podcast, and today I did a little vlog, and I was like, "What was I saying?" So forgive me, I lose my train of thought really easily. I have squirrel brain, for sure. I think it's really funny, a lot of my crochet community like thinks I'm classy and sophisticated, and I'm like, you don't know me, do you? I may look that way in pictures, but I am not. I am a klutz, and I am a I'm a very like plain, low maintenance person. I'm not really one of those traditional ladies that has her life all together. I am not that. I'm not like an accomplished artist who has her life all together. I'm not that either. I wish I had been. I wish I had put more thought and foresight into what I was doing with my life, but now is as good a time as any. It's not like I haven't made a lot of art in my life since I started making it back in the day, but I haven't made enough and I haven't made everything I've wanted to make. And now I see my age and I feel like, oh my gosh, I've wasted so much time. I could have done a lot more. So sometimes I feel bad about it. I'm gonna use the fat brush for a second to save some time. And hope I don't smooge into the other areas next to it. Like I said, boy, it's hard to see this. And it's so bright. It's such a bright color. I'm blind looking at it without painting all day. I can see a little bit because some of the white is coming through on the edges, which is helping me to see. But I can't imagine how boring it must be for you all to be watching me do this, so it'll be exciting to be into the more prominent colors. The brighter, not brighter, this is bright as you could want to be, I guess. Not brighter, but like more visible, I guess. Like the blues and the greens and such. It'd be easier to see them. I gotta angle my body around here so I can drag the brush in the direction I want to go, which is from this way. I get vertigo sometimes. I have really bad vertigo. I'm on medication for it. So sometimes when I stand up against the easel, I get dizzy. We went to Six Flags Great Escape though on Saturday, which was really fun, and I was really surprised how well I did on many of the rides. I was shocked that my vertigo seemed to have improved vastly. Although there's lots of rides I still won't go on, but it was fun to go on some coasters with my husband. We have never done that before, so we were like having ice cream at Martha's across the street. And if you're from the area, then you know Martha's is like the iconic ice cream place locally. It's just the bomb, and everybody goes there. It's been there since like 37 or something, maybe later than that, but it's been there for a long time. And we were having ice cream. We're like, do you want to go? Because we're watching. It's like across Route 9 there. So you can see like all the stuff going and spinning and all this, like people's legs in the air and the little tiny, from a distance, it looks like tiny little legs. And I'm like, yeah, as long as we're not going on that thing right there. So we went and it was really fun. Yay. Okay, so now I know I have all of the second coat of green on like this area here. So I try to like visually break up the spaces in my mind so that I'm not confused. This one's going to be hard though because some of these have so many different spaces. The 7s and the 8s and the 6s. Oh my goodness, there's so many. That'll really change the landscape of the painting. But first the 3s and the 4s. And before the 3s and the 4s, finishing the second coat on the 2. And probably a third coat. I don't see any way around it, but I don't think I will record that or go live for it or even let anyone know I'm doing it. I'm trying to finish this before my husband gets home from work because we're supposed to have BLT salads for dinner, so I want to help with dinner. Awesome. I always want to get like more than one color done in a day, but it's so hard to do. So if I have 10 colors, you gotta imagine I had many days into value mapping, and then transferring the image and getting it onto the big huge canvas, and then correcting how bad it sucked from the transfer process, and then color mapping after creating all my colors. and then the paint goes on in many layers. So what really should take, would take some people a couple days to make a painting, it ends up being days, because in between each in between each color, I take the leftover paint and I work on my abstract minis, and that usually takes an hour or two. So I think that looks pretty good. Oh, that's gumpy. Gumpy? Gunky is what I was trying to say. And maybe bumpy? I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what I was trying to say with that. Gunky? There was gunk in my paint. That's no good. Like I was saying, I really like the smooth, pristine finish. I like it all to be very consistent. For at least some of these acrylic paintings, I don't like it to be brush strokey and stuff. I guess I should look at the screen and make sure I don't have people saying stuff. Oh, I do have people saying stuff. I'm ready to do more coasters with you. It was a blast. Coasters? What coasters did we do? Sorry if I missed your comment there. I don't remember us doing coasters. I don't know what you're talking about. Now you gotta tell me what you're talking about. What coasters? Do we paint coasters? No? I don't know. Oh, I feel like my battery or all this might have died. I'm not sure. I don't know if my microphone is still on anymore. I'm not really sure. Let's see. Okay. Not really sure if it helps it to sound better or not. Whoa. That might not have sounded good. It's just a magnet. I didn't even know that. That's cool. Anyways, I don't know if it's like good to have candy in my mouth while I have this microphone on. I'm not sure. Back to spaces though. Oh, coasters. You meant roller coasters. I'm thinking like drink coasters. Why was I thinking that? I don't even know. Yes, I would definitely do more coasters with you. Sorry about that. I was literally, like I said, I lose my train of thought very easily. We were literally just talking about the Great Escape and how we went on coasters for the first time. Not that each one of us hadn't been on coasters before. We had, but we've been together for 8 years now, and we had never like gone. We've gone to the fair, but we never went to an amusement park, and we had never ridden roller coasters together. So we're like, you know what? Let's do it. And so impromptu, we weren't even planning to go. We were not really properly dressed even, but we still had a lot of fun. So we decided to add that to our summertime agenda just because it's like, honestly, not far from our house. And if you have season passes, then you don't mind going for shorter periods of time, and you can go when it's like less busy or whatever. We went on a Saturday evening and it was like dead. We could walk up to pretty much every single ride. And it was a hot, nice night. So I'm not really sure. In fact, it was the first day of summer. It was the first day of summer, in fact. And I was really surprised because we haven't had good weather in upstate New York pretty much this whole entire year. We had nice weather in April, and then it just started pouring rain and it didn't stop since April, pretty much. If you're online, then you've probably seen memes about New Yorkers both like drowning for the last 6 months, and then also now dying in the heat wave that we've had as a result. So I'm not saying they're messing with the weather, but the weather is messing with us, if nothing else. Definitely trying to psych us out in upstate New York.
I'm like dreading doing this part because this like rambling river here, it reminds me of the lazy river for sure at the Great Escape. And it's really challenging to do the whole thing and to not like get lost and to not paint over what I, get my arm stuck in it or whatever. So I'm trying to converge on the race car. And I can just see from like these areas where I had
Saturday, Sunday too, if I think about it. So, yeah, I went up to Lake George by myself on Friday and walked around a little bit and enjoyed my evening. Oh, and then Saturday we went kayaking and to Martha's and then to the Great Escape. So, Sunday we were home. After going to church in the morning, we were home. So, it feels like a long 4 days, I guess. I guess if you work from home though, like at a computer or whatever, this is work from home, I guess, but I don't know. I don't see it the same way as if I had to like log into something 40 hours a week. It would probably be that would probably feel different, I don't know. I've never had a job like that. All my jobs were like in person. I don't know if I did this already. I feel like I did the second coat already. So this could be technically the third coat. It is the third coat because I was talking about how I couldn't remember what I was talking about with the coasters, and now I can remember. Sometimes I have muscle memory like that. I won't remember what I painted, but I'll remember what I was talking about when I painted it, and then I'll remember that I painted it. Oh, I hear my honey coming home.
Hello.
Hi. Well, that's good news. I haven't started dinner yet because I've been working on this. And you're home so early. At least fairly early, I would say. I would call this fairly early. So let me just finish up this little bit here, and then I'll sign off and log off and close turn everything off for a tiny bit here. Just give me a minute.
That looks cool in person.
Does it?
Yeah.
I just want to forget my spot, so if I could just finish up these pieces, then I would know that all I have left is basically the race car bit for the second coat. So I just
Well,
want
I
to
was on with your live. Now I'm live in your live.
Now you're live in the live. That's right. Now I'm not alone anymore. I would live stream with you. You know, I would have you as a companion live streamer.
That would
be fun.
I would be blessed for that.
That would be fun.
That'd be awesome.
I don't know if you'd be blessed, but you would be.
Well,
you could enjoy them. Yeah, it'd be a blast. Maybe. I don't know about blessed, but blast for sure. So thanks for being on the live stream with me, or at least listening in.
I think we got delayed there. Like at some point, you when I was driving home, you stopped. So at some point you're like, oh hey, what's up with the coasters? And immediately I'm like, roller coaster, and
that's so funny.
You didn't see it, so I'm sure there was a delay.
Oh, that could be. Sorry about that. So I don't know if you're the only. Are you still on? Or did you log off?
Right now when I walk out the door.
So I really appreciate you coming and hanging out with me on the live stream, and I appreciate the one person who's hanging out with me right now.
Oh,
so
cool.
Thank you so much for being here.
Hello, one person.
Yes. And once I get the chartreuse is tricky because it's so bright that even the second coat, it's hard to tell whether what's the second coat or not. So I just don't want to lose my spot because it already all looks kind of the same basically.
Yeah.
But you can see in spots where it does need that extra coat, just from the previous workup, the pencil marks, any of the marker lines that bled, into the wrong space. They all have to.
It really pops though, even without the border, the colors are bang.
Well, just wait till we get into the more, the blues and the greens and all that. That'll be really fun.
I realize this is just beginning.
Yes, just the very beginning. 2 colors in, and like I was saying on the live stream, it takes me so many days to get through because it's basically 1 day per color because I go through the color. I have to do 3 coats of it. Then I use the excess paint to create the mini abstracts, and then I can move on to the next color. And I don't use up the entirety of the excess paint. That's just what was on the palette. Then I still have actual pots of color left. But that whole process takes me basically 1 day. So that being said, all I have left now is the body of the race car. I have 2 coats on everything else. So I think I could call it quits for now because I've been on here for 63 minutes and 49 seconds. And that's a pretty good live stream. So if you're still with me, I really appreciate you being here. I'm probably going to go because it's getting to be dinner time for us, and I want to help make dinner. So
yeah, speaking
maybe
of which,
take a walk.
why don't I dig some bacon out?
Yes. So thank you for being here, and I have to now figure out how to turn this off because I can never remember how to do that. If I exit out, will it do it? Yes, I do. Thank you. All right.